Several residents fear that when there's drugs, there's weapons nearby, and they say that can lead to violence. That's why they say drug activity in their complex needs to be put to a stop. This is what a typical dinner looks like at ECI, and officials say there's a trick to keeping the cost of food low that doesn't lack in taste. See, this winter storm has not been kind to Cambridge as the snow is falling down. Not too many people out on the roads, but just looking below, you can see how deep it is. The snow comes up to the end of my boots, which is about a foot tall. Here's a look at what's going on in the world of health this evening. Summertime means pool time, especially for kids, but are there times parents should say no to swimming? Maybe if your child has a bad cut, an ear infection. State police say Elliott was driving down Route 609 when his front left tire blew out. That's when they say he lost control of his truck, which overturned into a field, throwing him out of the vehicle. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Amber Watson. More news and last time starts now. Well, Maryland lawmakers continued budget talks today. Results are in and the Salisbury municipal election ballot is set. Election officials did a final count today on the mayoral ticket, and friends, family, and concerned residents met today to search for the body of a woman who has been missing for more than a year. Vibrations rocked an entire Laurel neighborhood Monday night when this home was leveled by an explosion.
My cousin just said he heard a sound before it happened, and he said he just remembers setting the rafters and everything just crumbled on top of him.
The explosion happened just after 9:30 on Dogwood Lane while the family was moving in. The Delaware State Fire Marshal's office examined the remains of the double-wide mobile home Tuesday for clues on how it happened.
We're looking at a propane leak. We don't see any criminal activity at this time.
Families say all three children and their two parents were sent to the hospital and are still recovering. Fire officials say the man who was injured the most was in the kitchen area right before the explosion happened. And once they were called to the scene, they say they found the man trapped underneath all this rubble. A cousin of the family says he broke his back and dislocated 2 arms. The others are suffering minor injuries.
They're really upset, you know. We're just glad that everybody got out and everybody was safe. You know, they have injuries, but it's nothing that's life-threatening.
Amber Watson, WMDT 47 News. Residents on the 400 block of Franklin Avenue say they're terrified after gunshots rang out in their neighborhood Sunday night.
A friend of mine lived down the end of the road, and she said, Debbie, did you hear those gunshots? And they had cops all up down this road. I was scared.
Police say just before midnight, 3 men walked in front of the home and opened fire. Some of the neighbors I spoke with say they woke up to gunfire and heard as many as 8 shots. And right behind me through this window, you can see 2 bullet holes. Police say 8 people were inside. According to police, a bullet hit a 5-year-old in the forearm while she was sleeping. The incident happened right across the street from a daycare and in a neighborhood filled with children. Several residents were too frightened to speak on camera but say the neighborhood is being taken over by drugs and gang activity.
There's been some bad things going on in the streets behind me.
And right in front of the home, riddled with bullet holes, you see a pair of shoes hanging from a utility line, which in many communities is a code that drugs can be found nearby.
This kind of neighborhood, you never know.
Amber Watson, WMDT 47 News.
Virginia had...
There was a lot of anger brewing in Virginia after Governor Bob McDonnell declared April as Confederate History Month. The proclamation honors the soldiers who fought for the South in the Civil War. However, McDonnell left out anti-slavery language that was originally included, saying it wasn't needed.
I didn't mention it solely because I was trying to keep the focus on really the war aspects of it.
People should be aware of the history of their country. It's not being taught very well anymore. You remember the good things as well as the bad things.
As you come into Virginia, you can see the Southern heritage is appreciated. And while many don't disagree that Confederate History Month should be celebrated, they say certain parts of America's history cannot be forgotten.
Confederate soldiers lost their life for what they thought was right. I can understand that. What I cannot understand is a governor of Virginia in 2010 saying that the African American impact or slavery is insignificant.
Now the governor has issued an apology calling it a major omission. He also made an amendment to include language on how slavery led to the war, but not everyone is pleased.
It is a slap to our face for what our forefathers went through. History forgotten is history repeated.
Amber Watson, WMDT 47 News.